Hi, I'm Kenzie. Welcome back to my podcast. If you are just joining, welcome. Today we will be talking about my 8th Elmo's World VHS. It's called Elmo's World, the street we live on. It celebrates the 35th anniversary of Sesame Street. Let's get started. This special video starts out with Grover about to get a package to deliver. Maria and Luis gave it to him. He had to deliver a package to Oscar. After passing some well-known friends, Grover finally got to Oscar's trash can. Oscar opened the package. It was a picture of Dorothy that Elmo drew, but there was some spaghetti spilled on it. Oscar thought Elmo was a genius. Then he wondered where Elmo was. Grover mentioned that he was feeding Dorothy. Oscar jokingly wondered if he was feeding her spaghetti. Speaking of Elmo, the scene transitions to Elmo's world. As always, Elmo introduced himself, his world, and his goldfish Dorothy. He told the viewers to guess what he's thinking about today. All of a sudden, he heard the Sesame Street theme song. Then he opened the door to reveal all of his Sesame Street friends. That's what Elmo was thinking about, Sesame Street. Then we saw some examples of some iconic scenes from Sesame Street. After that, Dorothy had a question about Sesame Street. The Sesame Street question was, how does Cookie Monster eat a cookie? Elmo went to ask Mr. Noodle. After they did a cool handshake, Dorothy's question was asked to him. Mr. Noodle grabbed a cookie, but he took a teeny tiny bite. Then he got a table and a chair. The cookie was on the plate. He had good table manners, but he wasn't supposed to eat the cookie with a fork. I mean, nobody eats a cookie like that. So after Elmo told Mr. Noodle to think monster, he got the idea. Mr. Noodle grabbed the cookie and ate it like Cookie Monster. Suddenly, he burped, and a bunch of cookies rained on him. It was a cookie storm. Elmo got a cookie too. At that point, Dorothy wanted to ask someone else. We saw two girls eat different cookies like Cookie Monster. Then Elmo asked a baby. After that, he saw another baby. Well, actually it was Cookie Monster dressed as a baby. Clever disguise. Then Cookie Monster made a letter C with the cookie after he took a bite out of it. After some letter C sketches and some other sketches, computer entered the scene, making Elmo dizzy. So Elmo told him to stop. Elmo had an email, but he had to tell the mouse to stop spinning too first. Then he clicked the mouse, and it revealed Snuffy and Big Bird. They did a dance called the Snuffleupagus. The best part was you didn't have to be a Snuffleupagus to do it. After the email, Elmo had a question for us. How many monsters from Sesame Street are in the Monster Parade? Before we started counting, the count entered the scene to count with us, and to reveal the number of the day. The answer was 10 monsters, which meant the number of the day was 10. After a sketch about the number 10, Elmo wanted to learn more about Sesame Street. Then Ernie entered the scene, wondering where to hide. Then Big Bird entered the scene, wondering where Ernie was. You know what that meant. It was time to play Journey to Ernie. Big Bird traveled to Nursery Rhyme Land, where everything he saw was a nursery rhyme. He saw Humpty Dumpty, the 3 little kittens who lost their mittens, the old woman who lived in a shoe, the 2-headed monster, and Little Bo Peep who lost her sheep. Speaking of sheep, Ernie was hiding in a sheep costume. He was found. After the celebratory song, Little Bo Peep's real sheep was also found. After Journey to Ernie, Bert entered the scene wondering where Ernie was. Elmo told him he was playing hide and seek with Big Bird. Bert then wondered where he was. Elmo told him he was in Elmo's world. Bert then asked how he gets out of Elmo's world. Elmo was not sure. After Bert left the scene, Dorothy was thinking about Bert and Ernie. Afterwards, Elmo wondered who does and doesn't live on Sesame Street. While Maria lives on Sesame Street with Louise and Gabby, George Washington doesn't live on Sesame Street. A big purple bird doesn't live on Sesame Street, but a big yellow one does. A polar bear doesn't live on Sesame Street, but Baby Bear does. A worm lives on Sesame Street, Slimy, with Oscar. Afterwards, Elmo mentioned that his friend Grover lives on Sesame Street, but sometimes he goes on trips. One time he went to China and brought home a peacock named Ming. Then Grover wanted Ming to show everyone the peacock dance, but Ming wasn't dancing the right way. So Grover showed Ming a short film on peacocks. After that, Ming still didn't dance the right way. Well, at least she was dancing, in a way. Anyway, Elmo wanted to learn more about Sesame Street. He did that by watching all of his friends from Sesame Street on TV. On TV, we heard a story about a girl who got lost, but it turned out she wasn't lost. She was on Sesame Street. She met lots of friends there. They even did the alphabet song and dance. Yep, Sesame Street is definitely fun and educational at the same time. Afterwards, Elmo wanted to learn even more about Sesame Street. He opened door to reveal Super Grover. He wanted to take Elmo to the Sesame Street before he was born. After trying to go there by superpowers and failing, Super Grover thought they should take a taxi instead. So he and Elmo got in the taxi and went through the time barrier. They saw Mr. Hooper, Maria and Louise's wedding, Gabby as a baby, and Susan and Gordon with baby Miles. Then they went back to Elmo's world. While Super Grover chased the taxi, Elmo mentioned that he and Dorothy loved Sesame Street. That's why Dorothy wanted to sing the Sesame Street song. So Elmo played the Sesame Street song on the piano to the tune of Jingle Bells. Suddenly, he stopped. He realized he doesn't have to sing about Sesame Street. He lives there. So he went there to tell everyone he loves them and Sesame Street very, very much. Then everyone sang a song about the iconic street they live on. Afterwards, Dorothy mentioned that Sesame Street was brought to us today by the letter C and by the number 10. Then she, Elmo, and everyone else said goodbye. Well, everyone but Oscar, he said get lost. And that's how the special ends. So yeah, that's Elmo's World, the street we live on. If you would like to play again, just go back to the beginning of this episode. See you next time. Bye!